Next week, PG&E is expected to plead not guilty to 4 counts of felony manslaughter and other alleged crimes in the 2020 Zog fire. PG&E admits that power lines sparked the fire that killed these 4 people, but denies criminal wrongdoing. Prosecutors accuse the company of criminal negligence for failing to cut the hazardous tree that fell onto power lines in a 2020 windstorm. Of course, you already know our Firepower Money team was in Reading for the entirety of these preliminary hearings. Brandon, the hearing ended in the judge binding PG&E over for trial, right? Yeah, which is what it sounds like. It means that PG&E now legally has to answer for these 11 charges. 20 of the charges got tossed out. Air contamination charges didn't stick because of the way the judge is interpreting the law. But the big charges, the manslaughter, the reckless arson, they will have to face trial on that. They do have several more machinations in the legal system that could stand between us and a trial. We can get to that in a little bit. Yeah, and we heard from a lot of witnesses that the hearings were basically like a mini trial. So what's the biggest revelation here? Yeah, it was something of a mini trial. We had a bunch of testimony, and for my money, I think the biggest revelation came from PG&E manager Ken Loomis. He took the stand and basically said that he put in a warning in writing back in 2019 saying our inspectors aren't always walking 360 degrees around the tree unless they see a problem standing by the power line. Well, the particular tree that caused the Zog fire had a big gouge, a big missing section of the trunk down towards the bottom of the tree, but it was on the back side if you were looking up the hill from the power lines. So it appears that several rounds of inspectors didn't walk 360 degrees around that tree, according to the prosecutor. He warned that this was resulting in legal vulnerability for the company. Sure enough, he's now on the stand in a criminal court. All right, and a slight gear change here, but your reporting is also gaining some attention across the country. Tell everyone a little bit about that. Yeah, believe it or not, this is all to set you up for an art story. We're about to introduce you to the artist who made this.
In a big city like Chicago, it's not weird to see an activist slapping up signs. What's unusual here is the poster. It's an art piece about a power company 3,000 miles away. Behind the mask is art student Ray Engelbrecht. She grew up in Northern California, in PG&E's monopoly. You called it a propaganda poster.
It is a little bit of one, yeah.
Ray's poster shows a PG&E power line sparking a fire, and with big bold letters, "This is not a crime."
The original idea for the piece actually came from a famous painting by a Belgian artist named René Magritte. The painting is called The Treachery of Images, and it's a painting of an image of a pipe. And below the picture are the words, "This is not a pipe."
It's been said art imitates life.
We did not commit a crime.
That's CEO Patty Poppe explaining that PG&E was going to plead not guilty to felony manslaughter charges. This PG&E circuit sparked the Zog fire, killing 4 people in Shasta County. Prosecutors say PG&E contractors marked this damaged tree as a hazard back in 2018, but PG&E never removed it. 2 years later, in 2020, it fell on the power line.
It's a little heartbreaking because we keep letting it happen over and over again.
The next year, something similar happened to a place Ray loves.
I'm still a little bit bitter about it, because it was such a beautiful place, and it still is such a beautiful place, and I'm so lucky that everyone I know got out safely.
The Dixie Fire burned down the town of Greenville in 2021, along with the nearby Copper Creek Camp. Ray's parents worked at that camp when they were kids.
And I went for 9 years. And I intended to keep going back, but because of the Dixie Fire, it's not exactly a camp anymore.
Like activists of old, Ray designed her poster for mass production. Not only does she post them, but when her classmates go home on break, she sends them home with stacks. That sounds like a little bit more than your standard "I had an assignment to do at art school."
Yeah. It is a little bit, yeah.
Ray's run a couple versions of the poster already. Recently, she added this code, which has linked hundreds of people to our investigative reporting on how the state government helped PG&E to avoid accountability after the campfire.
Thank you for everything that you've done. I'm very grateful that there's still people who are out there and still bringing awareness to this.
Every version of the poster is sealed with a kiss. X's and O's from PG&E.
I wanted it to be, I guess, snarky. I wanted to give the same attitude that PG&E has been giving to everybody that they've affected. They don't take accountability for their actions, and people get hurt because of it, and people have died because of it, and people continue to suffer from it. I would hope it was this obvious to everyone, but since it's not, I'm just going to do my part to make it that obvious.
All right, so you may have picked up this is a bit of a passion project for Ray. You can actually download and print your own copy of her poster. She's making it available for free. That's in the article on abc10.com.